Okay, so at the end of the last video, we were almost finished number 20. We were just about to take the square root of the area, the 6 times 10 to the negative 6. And when you do that, you should get 2.45. 0.45 times 10 to the negative 3 meters. And that's the width of the rod. Okay? So hopefully you got a hang of resistivity and gauge. Now flip over to page 714. That's where your other set were. And these were all with Ohm's law. So the first one, number 21, says heating element of an electric kettle draws 7.5 amps of current, so I is 7.5 amps, connected to a 120 volt battery power supply. So V is 120 volt. What is the resistance? So V equals IR. So R equals V divided by I. So 120 volts divided by 7.5 amps, 612. I think you get 16 ohms, but of course I'm doing it in my head. 16 ohms. Number 22. A toaster is designed to operate on 120 volts, so that's your V. If the resistance of the toaster, the R, is 9.6 ohms, what is the current? So again, V equals IR. This time I equals V over R. So 120 volts divided by 9.6 ohms, you should get an I of 12.5 amps. And there's a decimal there. Number 23. A small decorative light bulb has a resistance of 36 ohms, so R is 36. The bulb draws, 140 amps, so current is 140, and it's MA, milliamps. So 140 times 10 to the negative 3 amps. What is the potential difference? What is V? So again, V equals IR. So 140 times 10 to the negative 3 amps times 36 ohms. V should end up equaling 5.04 volts. Okay, number 24. Light bulb in the tail light of an automobile with a 12-volt electrical system, so V is 12 volts, has a resistance of 5.8, so R is 5.8 ohms. It is left on for 8 minutes. Delta T is 8 minutes. Multiply that by 60 to get 480 seconds. What is the quantity of the charge passing through it, and what is the current? You have to do B before you can do A. So first you find I. V equals IR. So I equals V over R. So 12 volts over 5.8 ohms. And you should get an I of 2.069 amps. Then you can go to A and do I equals Q over delta T. So Q is equal to I times delta T. I was your 2.069 amps you just found, and delta T is the 480 seconds. And when you do this, you should get a Q of 993.10 coulombs. Okay? Number 25 says, an iron transforms 3.35 times 10 to the 5th joules of electrical energy, so that's the work done, 3.35 times 10 to the 5th joules of electrical energy to thermal energy in 4.5 minutes. So delta T is 4.5 minutes multiplied by 60 would be 270 seconds, I believe. What's the rest of the question? To press a pair of slacks, if the iron operates at 120 volts, V is 120 volts. What is the resistance? So to find the resistance, you're going to need to find the current. To find the current, you're going to need to find the charge. So find the charge first. V is equal to W over Q. So Q is equal to W over V. So Q is equal to the 3.35 times 10 to the 5th joules divided by 120 volts. And you get a Q of 2,791.6, I think it's 6 repeating, coulombs. Don't clear your calculator. Instead, go and find your current now, because I is equal to Q over delta T. So that 2,791 point perhaps 6 repeating divided by 270 seconds will give you an I of 10 point, I have 3.4, but maybe 3.3 if it was repeating. I'm not sure if I round it. Sorry about that. And now the question wants to know the resistance. So now you're going to do V equals IR. So R is equal to V over I. So V was 120 volts and I is the 10.34 seconds. And so when you do this, you get an R of 11.606 ohms. Okay, number 25. Number 26, the last one in this set, says, in Europe, some countries use 240 volts, so V, 240 volts, power supply. How long will it take an electric kettle? So you're looking for the delta T in the end. How long will it take an electric kettle that has a resistance of 60 ohms, so R is 60 ohms, to produce 4.32 times 10 to the 5th joules of energy. So W is 4.32 times 10 to the 5th joules, and you want time. So before you can get time, you're going to need current and then charge, okay? So we can get charge right away by doing V equals, what was I going to do? Charge. V equals W over Q. So Q equals W over V. So 4.32 times 10 to the 5th joules over 240 volts will give us a Q of 1,800 coulombs. Okay, so that's my Q. Now I can get my I from my V and my R, because V equals IR. So I equals V over R. So I equals 240 volts over 60 ohms. So I equals 4 amps. So now that I have my Q and my I can find my T. I equals Q over delta T. So delta T equals Q over I. So delta T equals 1,800 coulombs over 4 amps. And that should give you a time of 450 seconds. The end. Okay? So hopefully those were pretty straightforward too.